Welcome back to The Last Boot, the channel where football is more than a game. It is passion. It is pain. It is glory. It is heartbreak. We tell the stories behind the moments that shook the world. The tears. The triumphs. The players who gave everything. And the ones who lost it all. I am so glad you are here today. If you are new here, please subscribe and join the Last Boot family. We are growing every single day and I do not want you to miss a single story. Today we are talking about the most controversial, the most brilliant, the most human, and the most impossible footballer who ever lived. A man who gave the world 2 goals in one match that sit at opposite ends of everything football can be. One was cheating. One was genius. Both were Diego. This is the story of Maradona and the 1986 World Cup. Let us find out. There are footballers who are great. There are footballers who are legendary. And then there is Diego Armando Maradona. A category entirely of his own. A man so complicated and so brilliant and so flawed and so magnificent that the football world has spent 4 decades trying to understand him and has never quite managed it. And perhaps that is exactly as it should be. Because Maradona was never meant to be understood. He was meant to be felt. He was born on the 30th of October 1960 in Lanús in the province of Buenos Aires in Argentina. The 8th of 11 children. His family lived in Villa Fiorito, one of the most deprived shanty towns on the outskirts of Buenos Aires. Dirt floors. No running water. Children everywhere. Poverty so complete and so absolute that it left marks on everything and everyone it touched. But young Diego had a football. And with that football he entered a world where none of that poverty existed. Where he was not a boy from Villa Fiorito. Where he was not hungry or uncertain or limited. With a football at his feet, Diego Maradona was the freest human being on earth. He was discovered at 8 years old, performing tricks with the ball at halftime during matches in Buenos Aires. The crowds would stop and watch this small boy do things with a football that grown men could not do. He juggled it. He balanced it. He moved it across his body with a fluency that seemed impossible. He was performing, entertaining. Already understanding instinctively that football was theater as much as sport. He turned professional at 15. He was playing in Argentina's top division at 16. He was the best player in Argentina at 17. And by the time he was 20, the football world was already running out of words to describe what he was. He went to Barcelona. Then to Napoli. At Napoli he did something that had never been done before and has never been repeated since. He took a small club from the poor south of Italy. A club that had never won the Italian League Championship. And he made them champions. Twice. He became a god in Naples. Literally a god. The people of Naples prayed to him. They put his image in their churches alongside the saints. They named their children after him. They tattooed his face on their bodies. They loved him with a ferocity and a completeness that went beyond anything sport normally produces. But it was 1986 that gave Maradona his greatest and most complicated stage. Argentina arrived at the 1986 World Cup in Mexico carrying something heavier than just footballing ambition. 4 years earlier, Argentina and England had fought a real war over the Falkland Islands. A war in which young men had died on both sides. A war that had left deep wounds in the relationship between the two countries. And in the quarter-final of the 1986 World Cup, those two countries met on a football pitch in Mexico City. It was not just a football match. It could never have been just a football match. The tension was extraordinary. The stakes felt enormous in ways that had nothing to do with football. And then came the first goal. 51 minutes into the match, Maradona jumped for a high ball with England goalkeeper Peter Shilton. He was shorter than Shilton. He could not reach the ball with his head. And so he punched it. With his left hand. Clearly and obviously punched it. The referee did not see it. The linesman did not see it. The goal was given. Afterwards, Maradona said something that became one of the most famous quotes in football history. He said the goal was scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. The hand of God. A phrase that entered the language of football permanently. A piece of cheating so audacious and so completely unapologetic that the world could not help but be astonished. England were furious. Justifiably. It was cheating. Plain and simple. There is no other word for it. But then came the second goal. 4 minutes later. And the world forgot everything else. Maradona received the ball in his own half. 55 meters from the England goal. 6 England players between him and the net. Any reasonable analysis of that situation said he should pass. Should recycle possession. Should do the safe thing. Instead he ran. He dribbled past one England player. Then another. Then another. He changed direction. He changed pace. He left defenders sliding in his wake like ships in a storm. He ran and he ran and he ran for 11 seconds that lasted forever. 5 England players were beaten. Then the goalkeeper. And the ball rolled into the net. 11 seconds. 5 outfield players. 1 goalkeeper. 55 meters. And the greatest goal ever scored at a World Cup. Possibly the greatest goal ever scored anywhere. The commentator Victor Hugo Morales broke down during his description of the goal. He could not find words adequate to what he had just witnessed. He said what we were all thinking. That this was not a man playing football. This was something else entirely. Something beyond normal human capacity. Argentina won that match 2-1. They went on to win the World Cup. And Maradona carried them almost entirely alone. In 6 matches he scored 5 goals and created 5 more. In a tournament full of great players he was on a completely different level. He was not the best player at that World Cup. He was the only player at that World Cup. When Argentina lifted the trophy, Maradona held it above his head and screamed. A raw animal scream of joy and relief and triumph. The boy from Villa Fiorito. The child who had grown up with nothing. Holding the most coveted trophy in football above his head in front of the whole world. It was one of the most powerful images in sporting history. Because it was not just about football. It was about what human beings can become when they refuse to be defined by where they started. That is Maradona. Cheat and genius. Villain and hero. Broken and magnificent. All at once. Always at once. And we will never see anything like him again. That is it for today's story on The Last Boot. If this video moved you, please give it a big thumbs up. Share this with every football fan you know. Hit subscribe and join the Last Boot family. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video. Until then, keep the passion alive.